Like Apple dominating half of the phone market, Google should dominate the rest since it owns Android. Even my first Android phone was Google HTC Dream, but surprisingly, it is Samsung that set the tone, and all other flagships are compared to it. The last flagship of Google is the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and the last Samsung flagship phone is the Galaxy S24 Ultra. In this video, I will compare all aspects of these phones, from the design of the two phones, the screen and display quality, battery life and thermals, and camera and video quality in both daylight and at night. I am more a scientist, and I will do my best to be impartial. I bought both of these phones with my own money, and I don't have any string attached to Samsung or Google. Daria also joined me to make this video. The first thing she said when I showed her the new Pixel phone was why it looked exactly like an iPhone. That's why I also felt together with everyone else. I don't think it is necessarily a bad thing though. The frame is very premium, and in general the Pixel 9 Pro XL is a flagship quality like the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Pixel also feels more robust and durable this time. I dropped it a few times already and has no scratch or chipping, unlike my Pixel 8. Pixel 9 Pro XL is smaller than the Galaxy and is more of a size of the S24 Plus. The edges look more like the iPhone 15 and S24 Plus and are more rounded than edgy. It is again kind of nice since it is easier to hold in my hand, even though I already gotten used to the sensation of S24 Ultra piercing my flesh. They both have a punch hole, and I feel the one on Pixel is slightly bigger than the S24 Ultra. Looking at the back, Pixel has a more noticeable camera bump. At the same time, Samsung has more cameras. To be exact, it has one more, which is a 3x telephoto lens, while Pixel 9 Pro and Pro XL only have a 5x telephoto lens. This year, Google improved a few things with the new Pixel phone. The most important is the fingerprint scanner. They finally made it ultrasonic this year, which is faster, better, and less annoying. It is similar to the S24 Ultra fingerprint scanner. There is a slight difference is that the S24 Ultra you can actually turn on the phone by just putting your fingerprint on the screen, while on Pixel you have to turn the screen on before doing that, which is another step. And I wish they also opted for the same approach as the S24 Ultra. Pixel 9 XL has another significant improvement, the screen. They are using the latest and best panel from Samsung, which is M14, and is even more new than the Galaxy S24 panel. There is a difference though. The panel is not anti-reflective like the Galaxy S24 Ultra, but can get brighter. Both are readable on a typical sunny day, and you won't find any issues. In the most extreme cases of direct sunlight in August at noon, from my experience, the S24 Ultra has a bit of an edge over the Pixel 9 Pro XL. While the Pixel reflects a lot of light, the S24 Ultra lets you read at least some parts of the screen. And that's where the anti-reflective display shines, or to be more precise, it does not shine, which is a good thing. Moving to the battery test, both have very similar battery capacities. Many folks, including myself, reported that the S24 Ultra battery is not as good as it was a few months ago. To be more fair to the S24 Ultra, I did a clean factory reset before the test. I charged them to 100% and disconnected them from Wi-Fi, so they both run on 5G on the same network. Both have the same screen brightness, and I'm also running the app that I wrote to measure the phone's thermals and power consumption. I run different types of content on YouTube, including shorts and full videos in 720p format, to see which drains the battery faster and which gets hotter. To my surprise, by the end of this part of the test, the Pixel 9 XL Pro was 2 degrees cooler than the S24 Ultra and had more battery. This is interesting because traditionally, Tensor chipsets are more inefficient. Also, Pixel phones before Pixel 9 did not have any vapor chamber, which means the heat dissipation was abysmal. Now, they have a vapor chamber that works great and keeps the temperature lower. Another thing I should mention is that the S24 Ultra chipset is the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3, which is much more powerful and contributes to more battery usage. I also decided to test the thermals under normal conditions. I attached both phones to my bike using newer Magic Arm and phone holders and ran 4K 30 frames per second on both phones. Link of the tools that I use are in the description. By the end of the test, the Pixel 9 Pro XL had 91% of the battery left with the temperature of 33 degrees Celsius, which is 92 Fahrenheit. And the S24 Ultra had 84% left at 38 degrees Celsius, which is 101 Fahrenheit. I took some pictures which I will show you later. And by the time I got home, the S24 Ultra had 74% left and the Pixel had 85%. This time the S24 Ultra was slightly cooler. If you have been watching this channel for some time, you already know that the battery percentage is not accurate. For one, the calibration differs on each phone, and for two, in this case, the S24 Ultra is older and hence the battery could have already degraded. That's why we always measure the phone's power consumption. If you look at the power consumption of the phones during the test, you will see that the S24 Ultra used more power but not as much as it shows on the battery percentage. The blue line is for Pixel and red is for S24 Ultra. S24 Ultra used 1.8 watts on average, while Pixel used 1.6 watts on average. That's roughly a 10% difference. As you can see, the red line is usually above the blue line, which means that most of the time, the power consumption of Pixel was lower than the S24 Ultra, except on a few occasions. As I mentioned, the Pixel Tensor G4 is not as powerful as the S24 Ultra, which can lead to less power consumption. To know exactly how much more power the S24 Ultra is, I ran the Antutu benchmark, which measures almost everything about your phone performance. By the end of the test, the S24 Ultra got nearly 16.5 million, while Pixel 9 Pro XL got 12 million. That's 30% higher score for S24 Ultra, which is quite significant. That means Pixel Tensor G4 is roughly 2 generations behind in raw power compared to a Snapdragon. It is the same story when it comes to gaming and GPU. I also ran the 3D benchmark and wildlife stress test to test that more precisely. It runs a loop of 20 times to see how the GPU performs under stress. This benchmark is relevant if you're into gaming. Two numbers are important here. The first number is the first loop score, where S24 Ultra got 14K while Pixel got around 9K, which is a significant performance difference. The other thing is sustained performance. Again, the S24 Ultra did a better job even though it got hotter sooner. Also, the Pixel 9 Pro XL had one major frame drop, which can give a nasty experience if you play a heavy game. So if you're into gaming, especially heavy gaming, maybe consider the Ultra. I also tried to test the modem of both phones. For that, my app measured the antenna that I got from Android API. This is not an exact science since I'm not measuring the signals, but it gives a rough estimations. I cycled through the city of Vienna for the whole day and neither of the phones dropped to signal 1 out of 4. That said, Pixel dropped to signal number 2 more often than S24 Ultra did. S24 Ultra was consistently at 3 or 4 signals out of 4. When I was cycling outside to do modem and signal test, I also took a lot of videos and pictures to see which phone is the king of cameras for Android phones. I took all the videos on 4K 30 frames per second and the settings are the default ones. The only one that I changed is I made the aspect ratio to 16:9 instead of 4:3. It is actually interesting to see how different these two phones are processing the images and videos. Pixel has a bit more digital and AI looks to it, while S24 Ultra has a more saturated and vibrant tone. When it comes to pictures, the difference during daytime is very minimal. If you look at the bridge in the picture that I took with the wide lens, the pixel is a bit deeper brown and has some red. The photos are almost identical for the main lens, with minimal differences between them in this shot. In this second shot, I feel the HDR of Samsung is working slightly better if you look at the water at the bottom of the screen, which is greener compared to the Pixel 9 XL Pro. When it comes to the 5x telephoto lens again, during daylight, my naked eyes cannot see much of a difference, except for the fact that S24 Ultra has a slight gray filter on the pictures. This is something I noticed a lot during the whole year I used it. Also, Pixel does not have a 3x telephoto lens, so if you zoom in 2 or 3 times, as I did here, the camera does a digital crop compared to the optical ones. Even though at first glance you may not notice the difference between the digital crop and actual optical zoom, if you magnify the picture, you will notice that S24 Ultra gathers a lot more information compared to the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Actually, in my personal opinion, the 3x telephoto lens is one of the most important lenses because it almost replicates the 50mm lens on an ASP-C camera and is the right proportion to take portrait pictures. When it comes to 5x telephoto lens video, both of them do a great job of capturing the scene. The colors are accurate and the autofocus works amazing. The camera also does a great job moving between the foreground and background when taking the video, even though the shutter speed is being cranked up due to the amount of light in the scene. That said, I experienced a lot of weird behavior from Pixel 9 XL Pro. It does a lot of focus hunting on 5x telephoto lens and sometimes loses focus. As you can see this helicopter. Also, sometimes it forcefully moves the camera center. For example, at the end of the video, it is not my hand that is shaking, but the Pixel software is moving the center of the video for some reasons and shifting the image. The portrait photos also look different on the phones. The S24 Ultra colors are a bit more yellowish, while Pixel colors are more on the neutral end. You can use the portrait mode on both phones. Both did a great job, but I feel while the S24 Ultra created a better halo, Pixel did a less aggressive job in moving the hair and blurring the background. As I said a few times, the biggest difference between the two phones is the white balance. The middle photo is taken by my Sony Alpha camera. The Galaxy photo color is very off compared to the reality. This is also visible when taking a video, even though surprisingly each lens of the phones capture the color slightly differently, which result in a visible color shift when zooming into the sunset. For night photos, the main difference between them from my experience is the white balance. Unfortunately, the S24 Ultra does not handle the light the best way, and since the whole Vienna has yellow lights in every street, my night shots are very well yellow. For example, here, you can see the building's white balance is off. That said, since there is a 3x telephoto lens, you can take much more pictures at a certain distance with the S24 Ultra, and the colors look very natural on this lens. Again, if you look at this photo with 5x telephoto lens, you will notice that the Pixel Pictures is sharper and has its own style compared to the S24 Ultra. This is another example of Pixel doing a better job with the white balance. Both of them increase the exposure too much for my taste. For videography, the main difference is again the white balance and the color and exposure shift during changing lenses. The white balance on the Pixel has more greens, while the S24 Ultra has more magenta. It seems the S24 Ultra is doing a better job. Also, the quality of the zoom is better. At the same time, the colors and exposure shift are not acceptable on the S24 Ultra, and Samsung should definitely address this issue. Pixel is not perfect either, but it's better than the S24 Ultra. That said, there is a reason that I much prefer using the S24 Ultra camera for videography, even though Pixel has more accurate colors, and that's the manual mode. You can control the shutter speed, the white balance, and lots of other settings in this mode. Another reason I love the S24 Ultra is the wide range of accessories, like this MagBag case that is magnetic and can be attached to any surface that attract magnets. Also, the MagBag wallet that you can attach to it works great with the case. Shout out to MagBag for sending this case, and the affiliated link is in the description. Another reason I love the S24 Ultra is the S Pen. It is such a great tool for writing notes, and I cannot leave it behind. I use it for simple things like taking notes, but I also use it very often to take pictures or a group photo while I put it somewhere far away. To summarize the video, the Pixel 9 Pro XL is a great improvement over the Pixel 8 Pro. The new vapor chamber means the phone stays cooler, even compared to the Galaxy S24 Ultra. The battery life is slightly better than the S24 Ultra, especially after the S24 Ultra updates, and a bit of a battery drain that users are experiencing. The pictures are more neutral and color science is simply better. At the same time, the S24 Ultra has a 3x telephoto lens and does a better job with autofocus. Also, the S24 Ultra has more visuals like the wide range of accessories you can get, the S Pen, and an anti-reflective display. Also, Galaxy S24 Ultra has a Snapdragon 8 Generation 3, which is arguably a more powerful chipset than the Tensor G4 from Pixel 9 Pro XL. If you want to know how the smaller version of these phones, the Galaxy S24 and Pixel 9 are doing, I made another comparison between them, which you can watch next. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for tuning into Tecmo, and I will see you in the next one.